With me being a big fan of narrative in games, and BioWare often being cited as one of the best developers for Western RPGs, it was only natural that we would cover one of their games on this show. Whilst BioWare have many critically acclaimed games under their belt, its two biggest series at the time of recording are Mass Effect and Dragon Age. At the moment, I've played at least the first game of both franchises, and whilst I've enjoyed the both of them, I have to say I prefer Dragon Age overall. Part of it is my personal preference for fantasy over sci-fi, but another part of it is the dialogue system. The dialogue wheel BioWare loves to use is an okay system, but it honestly feels like you only have control over your character's mood rather than their dialogue, because 9 times out of 10, the short sentence next to it is only a vague guess as to what your character is going to say, never mind the delivery. And then when you add the fact that there is usually a light or dark meter attached to it that only rewards you for going one way, it creates an experience that feels very restricted at times. By contrast, Dragon Age Origins shows you the entire line of dialogue, and you can make a fully informed choice about what your character is going to say, so you feel like you have greater control over your character's personality. On top of that, there is no karma meter. You aren't told if your choices are right and wrong by the developers, and the only reward or punishment for your actions is your party members' opinions of you. Which is how it should be. Instead of telling the players to be nice so that they can get points for their karma meter, the game tells you the blunt truth that if you're a snarky git, people will dislike you for being a snarky git. This is a great system that allows players to do some actual role-playing, which leads me to this new format. Instead of reviewing the story as a whole, like I normally do in these videos, this is going to be a combination of an episodic review and a narrated let's play, as I work my way through the story with a custom character I created to show you what kind of choices and experience the game can create. And before anyone comments, yes, I know SF Debris has done something similar with this game as well, but I swear I've had this idea in my head for a long time, and it's purely a coincidence. Although I do recommend checking his videos out as well. Anyway, enough of my preamble, let's get this game started.
The Chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the Darkspawn into our world. The mages had sought to usurp heaven, but instead, they destroyed it.
Success? Darkspawn are a race of monsters that are kinda like zombies, except not really. They're not undead exactly, but they can infect others in order to force them to be part of their horde. All seemed lost, but a group of warriors known as the Grey Wardens fought off the swarms and saved the world. But whilst their victories were celebrated, the Grey Wardens are now forgotten and ignored by most of the populace. And now there's a threat looming on the horizon, both metaphorically and literally. So with the backstory out of the way, we move on to creating our character. Now, I could make this avatar a digital version of myself, but here's the thing. Unless it's a game like Pokemon where the creation lies in the team, I don't want to play as myself. I want to create characters. With that in mind, whilst elements of me do creep in here and there, I prefer to create separate original characters, and the first step towards that is swapping genders. Yes, I play as girls, and will keep doing so because I find it fun. You'd better deal with this fact now, or this is going to be a very long series. Now, we have a lot of options to go through here, so we better do it quickly. You can choose between 6 origin stories, and after ruling out the others for various reasons, I'm going with Dalish Elf. More on that later. I also made her look faintly Asian because... why not? Since the Dalish Elves can only get the physical classes, I went with Rogue instead of Warrior, partially because it was more fitting due to the Dalish Elves being nomads, and also because the last character I created was a warrior. Finally, we have to pick a name for her, and after spending some time trying to think of a meaningful name, I eventually gave up and just started mashing syllables together. And this is the name I came up with. Evena J. Mahriel. What does the J stand for? Jonin, of course. With all that done, we can now begin.
You were born amidst the Dalish elves, noble wanderers who refused to join the society of humans that subjugated their homeland so long ago. The Dalish travel the land in tightly knit clans, struggling to maintain their half-forgotten lore in a human world that fears and despises them. You spend your time hunting with your clanmate Tamlin in the forests, and as is sometimes the case, your quarry is not always the local wildlife.
Our tale begins with a bunch of men running into Evena and Tamlin. Tamlin accuses them of being bandits and wants to kill them on the spot before they can endanger the camp. But Evena, being a curious sort, wants to know what the humans are doing here in the first place. The men desperately explain that they were exploring a nearby cave filled with many ancient ruins and treasures, and, at Evena's prompting, they hand them an artifact with ancient elven script, which excites both elves as this could be a chance to recover some of their missing lore. The men say they were chased down by a demonic creature, but that doesn't worry the trained elves. In fact, it convinces Evena that these guys are so pitiful they might as well let them go. It's not worth enraging other humans by leaving dead bodies in the woods, after all. As promised, the cave is filled with ancient ruins. And of course, all fictional ruins are filled with monsters and traps. Clever girl. But there are some good things in these ruins too, including ancient elven statues amongst the human architecture. Sure, it may not seem that interesting to us, but to Evena and the other Dalish, this could be an important step to reclaiming their lost heritage, a chance to strengthen their identity. With this in mind, the two of them head deeper into the ruins, but there are darker things lying in wait for them. The air fills with a strange unease, corpses rise up and attack them both, and in the heart of the temple, they encounter this terrifying creature that used to be a bear.
Don't give them the advantage!
By the creators! What was that thing?
At this point, even the survival instincts are overwhelming whatever curiosity she once had, so she starts trying to subtly lead Tamlin out of the cave, but he's more interested in a mirror with elven scriptures on it.
Wonder what this writing is for. Maybe this isn't... Hey, did you see that? I think something moved inside the mirror.
Get away from it, Tamlin.
Hold on, I just want to know what it is. Don't you see it? There it is again. Can you feel that? I think it knows we're here. I just need to take a closer look.
We just fought a demonic beast! What makes you think this will end well?
It's showing me places. I can see some kind of city. Underground. And there's a great blackness. It saw me. Help! I can't look away!
Can you hear me? I am very sorry.
Don't worry about it.
You're awake. You've the god's own luck, Lethalon. You're back at camp. Everyone is worried sick about you.
Evena is told that, much to her shock, she's been unconscious for 2 days straight. Apparently the man we saw earlier was a Grey Warden named Duncan. He took her back to camp, but she was delirious with fever and close to death, so the Keeper, the clan's leader, had to use a large amount of magic to help her recover. Evena, however, is more worried about Tamlin and herself, especially when she learns that she was the only one who made it back to camp. The Keeper agrees that Tamlin could be in an even worse condition than Evena, and says that whilst Duncan is currently hunting the Darkspawn that are starting to appear near the ruins, he can't be relied upon to look for Tamlin as well. So she tells us to take a mage named Merrill with us and seek him out. However, she also tells us that we have to do it quickly. The clan will be heading north soon. Not only are we afraid of the Darkspawn, but the humans we spared have started to rile up the locals, and soon they'll be coming to drive the elves out. The two of them begin their search, but it does not go well. Darkspawn are crawling through every part of the ruin, and Evena is starting to feel sluggish. Meryl even points out that she's starting to look pale, but Evena insists that it's just the exertion. All she can think of right now is saving Tamlin. Nothing else matters to her. so she convinces herself everything will be okay and forces her body to keep going. In the end, what prevents this from becoming a second tragedy is Duncan. He's been slaying the rest of the Darkspawn and has found the mirror, so he is able to shed light on what happened. The mirror is actually an ancient communication device, but it has become corrupted with a taint similar to that of the Darkspawn, hence why Evena is sick and the Darkspawn are attracted to it. Duncan decides to deal with the problem by smashing with the mirror, thus destroying the taint within it. But Evena doesn't care about any of that and insists on trying to find Tamlin. In the end, Duncan is forced to spell out the painful truth for her. Evena is still sick and Tamlin is dead. He's been alone in a Darkspawn-infested temple and has received no treatment for the past 3 days. The only reason Evena's alive is because of the Keeper's magic, and all that really did was keep the taint at bay. As things stand now, she will die as well, especially if she keeps ignoring it and pushing herself like this. Evena wants to fight him, wants to prove him wrong and continue the search, but she can find nothing. She knows deep down that he's right, and reluctantly agrees to return to the camp. Disheartened and grieving, Evena arranges a funeral for Tamlin, before distracting herself by taking part in an honoured custom, passing down their lore to the young.
Children, hear of the fall of the Dales. Hear the tale of what makes you Dalish. Would you care to begin, Dalen?
The Dalish are so named because they were from a nation once known as the Dales. But because they refused to follow the teachings of the Chantry, the main religion in this universe, their nation was invaded and its people scattered. The clans refer to themselves as keepers of the lost lore, and their goal is to survive in isolation and pass down the lore from one generation to the next, until the day where the elves finally have a land they can call their own and can start to rebuild their culture. This is the only life Evena has ever known, the life that gave her the principles she lives by, and it's about to come to an end. Duncan and the Keeper step before her and tell Evena that there is only one way to cure the taint that's killing her: become a Grey Warden herself. Evena is heartbroken, and she tries to explore other options, but it becomes painfully clear that there is no other way. Her only request is that she could attend Tamlin's funeral before she leaves, a request that Duncan is willing to grant.
Come then, Dalen. Before the Creators guide you from us, let your clan embrace you one last time.
And so, with a heavy heart, Evena leaves her clan and takes... What? Couldn't you wait a few minutes? There's like this beautiful atmosphere, there's this brilliant music, and we had all this build-up. I was really getting into that, you sodding... Okay, never mind, I can still sandwich this. Back in character. Depression, loneliness, darkness, no parents... Oh, freaking hell, lost it! The Dalish origin story is a good introduction to both the story and this form of the elven culture. Whilst I did find the ending somewhat anticlimactic compared to the other two origins I played, where Duncan saves our heroes from being thrown into jail, it was a nice change of pace to have the hero being forced to leave due to a curse, instead of joining because they have shown their potential for strength. We will see what lies in wait for Evena in the next episode, as she begins her life as a warden. But for now, I've been the Jonin Monkey, and until next time, cheerio.